Hello children, how are you all? Hope you all are good at home. Welcome to our English class. Children, do you all like stories? Okay, I will tell you the story. Listen carefully. Tom was a student of class 8th. He was always interested in playing games with his friends, watching videos, TV and all. So, Tom's mother asked Tom for study for the exam, but he did not do. He went on wasting the time in playing. Next day, Tom and his friends went to school to give their exam, but they couldn't do it well. The Tom's teacher asked Tom and their friends to write the exam again. That night, Tom and his friends wrote few lines in their diary. Let us see what did they write in their diary. Here are the lines written by Tom. Can you read it, children? Yes. Quickly go through it. I'll give you the time of 2 minutes. Yes, children. Did you find any differences? Yes, there are certain words which are underlined. Next, do you find any difference in the underlined words? Yes, children. For some words, few letters have been added. Now, you might have got the doubt that why these letters are added to the words. What are those letters? No worries, children. I will tell you and I will clarify all your doubts. Such words are called as prefixes and suffixes. So, this is our today's topic. Before going into the details, let us know what are we going to learn from this topic. From today's topic, you will be able to know the meaning of prefixes and suffixes. Know the functions of prefixes and suffixes. You will also be able to identify different prefixes and suffixes and learn formation of words using prefixes and suffixes. So children, before going into the details, first we shall know what are prefixes. Here, a prefix is a group of letters or an affix that is added to the beginning of a word. Prefixes modify the meaning of a word. They can make a word negative, show repetition, or indicate an opinion. Let's see a chart of prefixes in English. We use many prefixes in our daily life. Let's see one by one. The word anti, which gives the meaning of against. In the same manner, dis, it also gives the meaning of opposite. In the same manner, the prefix in, which gives the meaning in negative way, that means which is not. The prefix co, which gives with the association or with. The prefix extra gives the meaning as more than. The prefix fore tells us the meaning as before. For example, forehead, forecast. Likewise, the prefix mis, which gives the meaning as wrongly. That means that is not correct. In the same way, the prefix mono means singular. The prefix non means not or without. The prefix sub means under. The prefix trans means across. The prefix non means not or without. The prefix sub means under, like submerge, submarine. In the same manner, trans means across. The prefix un also signifies not. The prefix uni, which means only one, singular. Unicycle, universal. The prefix post means after. The prefix inter means between, like interact, intermediate. The prefix ex means former. For example, ex-president, ex-boyfriend. Now children, we shall see how to identify the root word and the prefix and also the formation of new words. Now children, we shall see each one in detail. Words framed by adding the prefix un to the root word. So, now we have to identify the root word and the prefix and also the formation of new word. Shall we see children? Okay. Here if you see the example, the word happy, by adding the prefix un, the new word has formed as unhappy. So here the word happy is the new word. Children, now we shall see some of the examples of prefixes. The first one, words framed by adding the prefix un to the root word. For example, the word happy. By adding the prefix un, the new word becomes unhappy, which gives in a negative manner. In the same manner, used. By adding the prefix un, it becomes as unused. Likewise, important, unimportant. Some ballots were left unused in the polling. Next one, words framed by adding the prefix in to the root word. If the root word is efficient, by adding the prefix in, the new word becomes inefficient. Likewise, the word accurate, inaccurate, dependent, independent. He is inefficient and must be replaced. Words framed by adding the prefix im to the root word. If the root word is polite, then what prefix do we add, children? Yes, we have to add the prefix or the letters im in front of the root word to make it a new word, that is impolite. In the same manner, mortal, immortal, possible, impossible. It's impossible to stand on iceberg for long time. We shall see the next example. The words framed by adding the prefix im to the root word. For example, if the root word is polite, by adding the prefix im, the new word becomes impolite. In the same manner, mortal, immortal, possible, impossible. It's impossible to stand on an iceberg for long time. Words framed by adding the prefix dis to the root word. For example, count, discount, agree, disagree, like, dislike. We purchased all these items in discount sale. Here is another example, children. Words framed by adding the prefix mis to the root word. So, if the root word is lead, by adding the prefix mis, the new word becomes mislead. In the same manner, guide, misguide, behave, misbehave, never misbehave with others. Words framed by adding the prefix sub to the word. If the word here marine, by adding the prefix sub, the new word becomes submarine. In the same manner, title, subtitle, conscious, subconscious. I saw many submarines in Naval Dockyard. Another example, children. Words framed by adding the prefix anti, anti to the root word. The word social, by adding the prefix anti, anti, the new word becomes antisocial, which comes in a negative way. In the same manner, biotic, antibiotic, septic, antiseptic. Mom put some antiseptic on his cut knee. Here is our next example, children. Words framed by adding the prefix fore to the root word. Example, head. By adding the prefix for, the new word becomes forehead. In the same manner, most, foremost, noon, forenoon. The meeting was held in the forenoon. Let's say another example. Words framed by adding the prefix post, post, to the root word. And here are the words. Graduate, if it is a root word, by adding the word post as a prefix, the new word becomes postgraduate. In the same manner, mortem, postmortem, script, postscript. My sister is a postgraduate in medicine. So children, till now we have all studied what are prefixes and what are the different kinds of prefixes and where to add them. Now let's see what are suffixes. Suffixes are a letter or a group of letters added to the ending of the words to change their meanings or function. These can be as small as s and ed or can be as larger addition such as ation or ious. We have come across the meaning of suffixes. What are the functions of suffixes? What do they do? Let us see. There are many suffixes used in English language to create rich vocabulary. These suffixes change the meaning or grammatical function of a base word or a root word. For example, by adding the suffix ist to the base word art, it changes as denoting a person, artist. So here children, we have to keep it in the mind that prefixes are added at the beginning of the root word and suffixes are added at the end of the root word. So, shall we see some examples? Yes. Here are some suffixes in English, what we use in our daily life. Quickly go through it, children. Now, children, let's learn some of the suffixes in English. The suffixes, we use various suffixes in our daily life, like ious or ous, which means characterized by. In the same way, age, that means action or process, like drainage, orphanage, marriage. The suffix al means pertaining to. Periodical, historical, regional, national, logical, etc. In the same manner, suffixes wise tells us in relation to. Otherwise, likewise, clockwise. The suffix ity or ty tells us the quality of extremity, validity, security, etc. The suffix ment tells us about the condition, like apartment, achievement, encouragement, excitement. The suffix ness tells us the state of being, like heaviness, highness, sickness, happiness. The suffix ship tells us about the position held, like friendship, hardship, internship, membership, citizenship, like that. The suffix sion or tion also tells us the state of being, position, condition, affection, etc. The suffix ate tells us about become, like mediate, calculate, create, collaborate, like. The suffix ful tells us notable for, like handful, playful, hopeful, skillful, thankful, colorful. Like this, we can add many words. The suffix ic or ical, that means having the form. It takes the form. For example, psychological, hypothetical, numerical, musical. The suffix iev denotes dividing the nature of, like impulsive, informative, attentive, active. The suffix less means without, meaningless, hopeless, homeless, spokeless, like. The suffix ly tells us related to, or it also tells the quality. For example, softly, slowly, simply, happily. The suffix ward, word or words, which gives the direction. For example, towards, afterwards, backward, inward, outward. So, here are some suffixes. Shall we see the example, children? Here we are with the examples. If the root word region, by adding the suffix al, the new word becomes regional. In the same manner, logic, by adding the suffix, it becomes logical. Music, by adding the suffix al, becomes musical. We enjoyed the musical night on 31st December. Now we shall see the words framed by adding the suffix ly to the root word. If the root word is soft, by adding the suffix ly, the new word becomes softly. Same way, slow, ly, slowly. Quick plus ly, quickly. He eats very slowly. Now, let's see the words framed by adding the suffix ty or ity to the root word. If the root word is secure, by adding the ity, what does the new word become, children? Yes, very good. It is security. In the same manner, valid, by adding ity, it becomes validity. In the same way, scarce, by adding ity at the end of the word, it becomes scarcity. There is scarcity of water in the desert. Let's go with another example. Words framed by adding the suffix age to the root word. For example, if we take the root word marry, by adding the letters age, the new word becomes marriage. If you observe carefully the spelling of the word marry, while changing it into the new word, the letter Y is replaced with the I. So, children, keep it in the mind very carefully while changing the word. So, children, keep it in the mind the spellings also while adding the suffixes. In the same manner, drain, drainage, orphan, orphanage. My sister's marriage is on 10th November. We are facing a lot of drainage problems in our colony. My friend's father has donated 1 lakh rupees to an orphanage. Here we are with our next example. Words framed by adding the suffix ive to the root word. For example, destruct plus ive becomes destructive. In the same manner, act plus ive becomes active. Construct, constructive. My brother is very active. Here we are with our next example. Words framed by adding the suffix ful to the root word. So here children, by adding this word, the whole meaning changes. For example, if we take the word color as a root word, by adding the letters ful, the new word becomes colorful. In the same manner, use, useful, wonder, wonderful. Mr. Ram brought a colorful portrait. Water is very useful. We should not waste it. The next one, words framed by adding the suffix ship to the root word. For example, friend, by adding the suffix ship, the root word, the new word becomes friendship. In the same manner, heart becomes hardship by adding the suffix. Member, membership. I have taken membership in country club. Our friendship is as strong as trunk. My hardship never wasted. Here we are with next example. Words framed by adding the suffix ment to the root word. So children, we might have come across many words like this in our daily life, but we never focused on them. So here we shall see what is to be added and how the new words have framed. If the root word is governed by adding the letters ment, the new word becomes garment. In the same manner, manage, management, excite, excitement. The state government has launched new scheme for girls' education. The school management has decided to declare holidays. Here we are with our next example. Words framed by adding the suffix ness to the root word. If the root word is high, by adding the suffix ness, what does it become, children? Yes, very good. It becomes highness. In the same manner, happy, by adding the suffix ness, it becomes happiness. Sick, sickness. In the word happiness, if you observe carefully, children, the letter Y in the word happy is replaced with the letter I while changing it into a new word. So, while framing the new words by adding suffixes, we should also keep the spellings in our mind. The next example. Words framed by adding the suffix WISE to the root word. For example, other plus wise becomes otherwise. Like plus wise becomes likewise. In the same manner, clock plus wise becomes clockwise. The toy is moving clockwise. Here we are with next one. Words framed by adding the suffix ION to the root word. For example, act, by adding the suffix ION, it becomes action. In the same way, narrate, by adding the suffix ION, it becomes narration. Create, creation. Her thoughts and actions are hers alone. So, my narration was excellent. Some more words by adding the suffix ICAL to the root word. For example, period, by adding the suffix ICAL, the word becomes periodical. In the same way, history plus ICAL becomes historical. Cube, cubicle. There are many historical monuments in India. Words framed by adding the suffix TION to the root word. For example, if we take the root word as pollute, by adding the suffix tion, the new word becomes pollution. In the same manner, rotate. By adding the suffix tion, the word becomes rotation. Same way, imagine, imagination. Children, if you observe here carefully, the root word pollute, the word ends with the letter E, and while adding the suffix and while framing the new word, the letter E is omitted. That means removed. So here we have to keep it in the mind, the spellings also. According to the reports, there is high pollution in Delhi. Now we shall see the words framed by adding the suffix less to the root word. For example, hope, hopeless, use, useless, meaning, meaningless. We should never speak meaningless words with others as it hurts them. Here we are with the next example. Words framed by adding the suffix ous to the root word. For example, danger, by adding the suffix ous, the word becomes dangerous. In the same way, courage, courageous, religion, religious. We can see many dangerous snakes in the forest. So children, I hope you have understood well what are prefixes and what are suffixes. Now children, I hope you all have well understood the meaning and the functions of prefixes and suffixes. Now children, quickly take out your notebook and write down these words in your notebooks and quickly fill the blanks. I give you the time of 2 minutes. Yes children, I hope you all have done it well. Now let's see the answers of these fill in the blanks. I hope you all have done it good. The first word happy, by adding the prefix un, it becomes unhappy. In the same manner, the word lead, by adding the prefix mis, it becomes mislead. The next one possible, by adding the prefix im, it became impossible. Graduate, postgraduate, correct, incorrect. Manage, by adding the suffix ment, the word became management. In the same manner, use, by adding the suffix ful, the word became useful. Next one, pollution. So all these words we have come across in our class. Now here is an assignment for you children. Quickly take out your notebooks and pens with you. Identify the prefixes and suffixes from the following words given below and write down in your notebook. The words are discount, misguide, extraordinary, monolingual, colorful, tasteless, cubicle, disagree, nationality, impolite, antibiotic, membership. I hope you all have well understood what are prefixes and suffixes and what are the functions of prefixes and suffixes. Now you might be easily identify the different prefixes and suffixes. Now you have already come across how to frame new words by adding prefixes and suffixes. I hope you all have enjoyed today's English class.